Can you believe the once famous face from Twin Peaks, and the woman who used to be engaged to Johnny Depp, is now totally unrecognizable? Yep, Sherilyn Fenn. You might remember her from back in the day with that dreamy, mysterious look. Well, her recent transformation has left fans shocked. But let's take a step back for a second. Ever looked at an old photo of yourself and thought, wow, I've changed so much? Maybe it was the hair, the smile, or just the way you carried yourself. You're not alone. Change happens to all of us, right? Time moves forward, and whether we like it or not, we change with it. Now, imagine that happening in front of the whole world. That's exactly what happened to Sherilyn Fenn. So, here's what we're going to do today. We'll go back to where it all started, walk through her rise to fame, talk about her love story with Johnny Depp, her time as a pop culture icon, and of course, that shocking transformation that's got everyone talking. And don't worry. We'll also talk about what this all really means. It's not just about appearances. It's about transformation, identity, and owning who you are. Let's rewind to the late 1980s. Back then, Sherilyn Fenn was the kind of woman people couldn't stop looking at. She had that old-school Hollywood beauty, thick, dark hair, bright eyes, and a presence that filled the screen. She wasn't loud or flashy. But she had that kind of quiet power that made you want to know more. And then, there was Johnny Depp. Yes, that Johnny Depp. Before all the movies, all the headlines, and all the courtroom drama, he was just a young rising star. He and Sherilyn met, fell hard, and even got engaged. For a while, it seemed like they were going to be Hollywood's next power couple. People loved them together. They were young, beautiful, and just mysterious enough to keep everyone guessing. But like many Hollywood romances, it didn't last. Still, people remembered them. And Sherilyn? Well, she was just getting started. Then came Twin Peaks. If you haven't seen it, it's hard to explain. It's weird, spooky, stylish, and full of unforgettable characters. And Sherilyn Fenn's Audrey Horne. Easily one of the most iconic. She played the role with this strange mix of innocence and danger. She wasn't your typical TV girl next door. She was smarter, more complex. And she had this famous scene, if you know, where she dances alone in a diner. That one moment made her a legend. Posters of Audrey Horne ended up on walls everywhere. And Fenn's face became the symbol of 90s cool. For a while, everything was going great. But as the 90s gave way to the 2000s, things changed. The roles got smaller. The spotlight moved on. And Sherilyn, like so many actresses before her, began to slip from the front pages. Hollywood, let's be honest, hasn't always treated aging actresses fairly. Once you reach a certain age, the phone doesn't ring as often. But Sherilyn never really went away. She kept working, stayed creative, and more importantly, she stayed true to herself. Then, something happened. In recent years, she started showing up again. Public appearances, photos online, maybe even a selfie or two. But fans were stunned. She looked very different. Gone was the youthful Audrey Horne look. The jawline was different. The lips looked fuller. Her whole face had changed. And people weren't shy about saying it. Some fans were confused. Others were shocked. A few didn't even recognize her. There were even comments asking, is that really her? But before we jump to conclusions, let's take a breath. Because this isn't just about how someone looks. This is about time, pressure, and choice. Especially for women in the public eye. Especially in Hollywood. Sherilyn Fenn has never been one to follow the rules. And from what she's shared over the years, she's not interested in pretending to be 25 forever. She's been honest about how hard it is to be judged for every little wrinkle, every pound gained or lost, every change in appearance. And yet, here she is, still showing up. That takes guts. Think about how much pressure there is online today. Imagine multiplying that by 1,000, and adding photographers, interviews, and tabloid headlines. It's no wonder celebrities change their looks. Sometimes it's a personal decision. Sometimes it's survival. But here's the twist. While many fans were focused on how Sherilyn Fenn looks now, others saw something else. They saw strength. They saw a woman who isn't afraid to evolve. She's not clinging to the past. She's not hiding from change. She's embracing it, unapologetically. And honestly, that might be the most iconic move of all. Now, here's something to think about. We talk a lot about glow-ups these days. Social media is full of them. Before and afters. Makeovers. New hair, new clothes, new life. But not every transformation looks glamorous. Not every change is Instagram-worthy. Sometimes, real change is messy, awkward, and unexpected. But it's still valid. Still powerful. That's what makes Sherilyn's story so interesting. It's not just about her face. It's about how she's choosing to live. How she's choosing to age. And how she's reminding all of us that transformation is part of being human. There's something else here too. Something a little deeper. Sherilyn's transformation challenges us to think differently. To stop judging people, especially women, based on how closely they match the version we remember from 30 years ago. People grow. They learn. They heal. And yeah, they change. And you know what? That's okay. In fact, it's more than okay. It's necessary. She once said something along the lines of, "You can't stop time. But you can decide how you age." That's powerful, isn't it? It sounds simple, but there's a deep truth hidden in those words. Because when you really think about it, time moves forward no matter what. No amount of makeup, surgery, filters, or wishful thinking can pause the clock. And yet, there's something incredibly freeing in the idea that even though we can't stop time, we still have a say in how we go through it. In today's world, especially in entertainment and media, there's this constant pressure to look young. Not just feel young, but look like you've somehow pressed pause on aging. We see it everywhere: magazine covers, red carpet photos, Instagram stories. Smooth skin, wrinkle-free faces, perfectly toned bodies. But that's not real life. That's the polished version we're sold, over and over again. And the harsh truth is, for women especially, there's a much higher expectation to keep up with that impossible standard. From a very young age, girls are taught to pay attention to how they look. Hair, makeup, skin, clothes, weight, posture, everything is up for judgment. And as they grow older, the messages get louder: don't get wrinkles. Don't gain weight. Don't look tired. It's as if looking older means becoming invisible. Like the moment you stop fitting into society's narrow idea of youth and beauty, your value somehow drops. But that's not true. Not at all. When Sherilyn Fenn said those words, she wasn't just talking about aging in the physical sense. She was talking about power. About choice. About freedom. She was reminding us that even though we can't control the ticking of the clock, we can control our attitude toward it. We can choose to age with grace, with pride, with honesty. And that kind of decision. That's bold. That's strong. It's especially bold in a world that constantly tells women they need to fix themselves. Think about how many ads you see every day pushing anti-aging creams, injectables, and treatments. Erase the years, they say. Turn back time. As if growing older is something we need to be ashamed of. As if experience, wisdom, and growth aren't beautiful in their own right. But here's the thing: every line on your face, every gray hair, every change in your body tells a story. A story of laughter, pain, survival, joy, heartbreak, and growth. These changes are not flaws. They're evidence that you've lived. That you've felt things. And that matters. It's easy to fall into the trap of comparison, especially when social media is full of edited, filtered, and airbrushed faces. We see someone who looks 10 years younger than they actually are and we wonder, what's their secret? But maybe the better question is, why do I feel like I have to look younger to be accepted? That's the root of it, isn't it? It's not about looking a certain way, it's about belonging. About feeling seen. About knowing we're enough. Sherilyn's transformation might have caught people off guard, but it also sparked a bigger conversation. A conversation about what it means to age publicly. What it means to own your transformation, whatever it looks like. Some people were surprised by how different she looked. But instead of hiding, she showed up. And that speaks volumes. She didn't apologize. She didn't explain. She just lived. That takes courage. And it's not just celebrities who face this. Women everywhere, teachers, nurses, moms, executives, artists, deal with the same pressure. The fear of being judged for aging is real. But when someone like Sherilyn embraces it, it creates space for others to do the same. It tells us, hey, you don't have to hide either. Choosing how you age doesn't mean you have to reject makeup, skincare, or even cosmetic treatments if that's what makes you feel good. It simply means making those choices for yourself, not because someone else told you you had to. It means listening to your own voice instead of the noise around you. For some, that might mean going gray naturally. For others, it might mean trying something new with their style or embracing their curves for the first time in years. Whatever that looks like, it should come from a place of self-love, not fear. Aging can be beautiful when we stop trying to control it and start trying to understand it. It's also important to remember that aging isn't just about the outside. It's about how we grow on the inside, too. With age comes perspective. The things that used to matter, perfect skin, flat abs, flawless makeup, often become less important. We start to focus on things that do matter: kindness, peace, strength, creativity, connection. We learn how to set boundaries, how to stand up for ourselves, how to let go of what doesn't serve us. Those are the gifts of aging. And they're worth so much more than smooth skin. So when Sherilyn says you can decide how you age, she's inviting us to take ownership of our stories. To be proud of the people we've become. To stop measuring ourselves against younger versions of who we used to be, and start celebrating who we are right now. That's not easy. It takes unlearning years of conditioning. It takes looking in the mirror and choosing to see beauty, even when the world tells you otherwise. But it's possible. And it starts with giving ourselves permission to be real. You don't have to look like your 25-year-old self to be beautiful. You don't have to fit into the same clothes or wear your hair the same way or keep chasing the same look. You are allowed to evolve. To shift. To grow. And you are allowed to be seen. We need more women, more people, showing us what that kind of aging looks like. Not the kind that's obsessed with perfection, but the kind that's full of life. That's messy, joyful, real, and unapologetic. That's the kind of beauty that lasts. So next time you feel the urge to criticize yourself for looking older, pause. Take a breath. And remind yourself, you've earned those lines. You've earned that softness. You've earned your story. You can't stop time. But you can absolutely decide how you move through it. And maybe, just maybe, that's where the real beauty begins. Why should growing older mean fading away? Sherilyn's not trying to be who she was at 24. She's trying to be who she is now. And that might be her most important role yet. It's also a reminder for all of us. Reinvention isn't just for celebrities. You don't need a red carpet or a camera crew to change your life. Maybe you're switching careers. Maybe you're figuring out who you are after a breakup. Maybe you're learning to love yourself again. Whatever it is, your transformation matters. It doesn't have to make sense to anyone else. It doesn't need to be perfect. And yes, it might shock a few people. But that's okay too. So, what about you? What's one transformation in your life, big or small, that changed the way you see yourself? Maybe it was growing out of a tough phase. Maybe it was cutting your hair after a breakup. Or maybe it was just realizing that you didn't have to be who people expected you to be. We'd love to hear your story. Drop it in the comments. Seriously, we read them all. And if you found this story interesting, you're going to love our next video. It's all about how the 90s it girls are making a huge comeback in 2025, and yes, Sherilyn Fenn is part of that conversation too. Just click the link right after this one and keep the nostalgia train rolling. And before you go, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. It helps a lot. And if you want more stories like this, celebrity journeys, cultural moments, and life lessons, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell too, so you never miss out. We've got some amazing content coming your way. Thanks for hanging out with us today. And remember, change is part of the story. Embrace yours. See you next time.